Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Carnage Reviews. My name is Eric. The holiday is almost upon us. The holiday we horror fans celebrate every day. Cool and comfortable weather, usually, people in costume, horror movies on the TV, candy. I am, of course, talking about Halloween. Today, I'm talking about a movie I never thought I would talk about on the channel. For the final week of October, I look at one more Halloween film, the controversial remake, Rob Zombie's Halloween. And my opinion of the film has actually changed. Before I jump into it, just a quick reminder to please consider subscribing to the channel. It's free and it's the best way to keep up to date with my latest content. Halloween was written and directed by Rob Zombie. It stars Malcolm McDowell, Sherry Moon Zombie, Tyler Maine, Scout Taylor Compton, Brad Dourif, Daniel Harris, and William Forsythe. In this version of Halloween, we spend a lot of time with Michael Myers as a child. He lives in a broken home with his older sister Judith, his stripper mother, and her abusive boyfriend. He also has a younger baby sister named Boo, who he is very attached to. Michael has a lot of problems. Besides his horrible home life, he also gets bullied in school and kills small animals. His violent tendencies appear to be getting worse and worse. After killing the school bully, Michael then goes on a rampage, killing his mother's boyfriend, along with his sister Judith and her boyfriend. Michael gets locked away, and Dr. Sam Loomis tries to get through to him. After his mother kills herself, Michael stops talking altogether. After Dr. Loomis informs him he will no longer be treating him, Michael escapes and heads back to Haddonfield to find his little sister Boo, Lori, who is adopted and lives with the Strodes. What is Michael's plan, though, once he finds her? Is he going to hurt her, or does he have different intentions? As a teenager and up through my early 20s, I was a huge White Zombie and Rob Zombie fan. I loved his music, and when he started getting into films, I was ecstatic. I saw both House of Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects in theaters, and I loved them both. In the early 2000s, when the remake boom first began, a remake of Halloween seemed guaranteed, which I was not thrilled about. Halloween was, and still is, my favorite horror film. When it was announced that Rob Zombie would be writing and directing the remake of Halloween, I was torn. I still liked Rob Zombie, even though I was starting to outgrow his music, and I just wasn't as big a fan as I once was. Unlike his other two films, I didn't see this one in theaters, because I was still very much against this movie being remade. When it came out on DVD, I did decide to give it a chance. I watched it once, and I just didn't like it. To me, it ruined everything that I loved about Halloween and Michael Myers. Eventually, he went on to do a sequel, Halloween 2, which I tried to watch, but I just couldn't finish it. At least the first one was somewhat watchable, and I could finish that one, but man, this one is just bad. I felt embarrassed watching it. Rob Zombie's Halloween came out in 2007. I really did only watch it once, and then it just sat in my collection for a while. So in 2025, after rewatching it, do I still feel the same way about it? Perhaps this time I watched the movie with a bit more of an open mind than I did the first time. Or maybe after watching Resurrection, anything seems better than that. Don't get me wrong, overall, it's still not a great film, but the first half is, dare I say, kind of interesting. I don't really agree with the whole backstory of Michael Myers being fully explored and showing the reason why he kills. To me, that doesn't make sense. Michael Myers is supposed to be a force, an element of destruction. I have to admit it, though, the backstory, at least in the director's cut, is somewhat interesting, and in the first half of the movie, the film takes its time in developing the character. However, in the second half, the film just completely contradicts itself. The film goes from humanizing Myers, having him speak and show emotion, to becoming an indestructible killing machine. It just doesn't make sense. Also, Myers as a kid is a rather short dude, and I get it that kids grow up and they change as they grow up and turn into adults, but would this little kid really become this giant fucking muscular guy? I mean, was he pumping iron in Smith's Grove? Were they giving him steroids? I mean, what the hell? I think they should have just stuck with one theme here. Either you humanize Myers, or you make him an indestructible killing machine. Doing both is just weird. I'm guessing a lot of this has to do with studio interference. I know Rob Zombie himself has said that he wasn't entirely happy during the production of Halloween, so who knows? Malcolm McDowell was a good choice to play Dr. Loomis. He's no Donald Pleasance, but he does well with the character. His dialogue isn't as good as when Donald Pleasance was in the role, but that's not his fault.
Evil is here. It's walking amongst us.
Doc, it sounds to me like you're talking about the Antichrist.
Well, perhaps I am.
That's the thing with Zombie. I think he's a competent director, but outside of The Devil's Rejects, I think his writing falls flat. I'm not sure why Zombie always has to have white trash characters. I mean, I get it. Myers is from a broken home, and that is what's partially responsible for him being the way he is, the neglect he received as a child. However, what made the original Halloween effective, at least to me, was that Myers came from a normal suburban family. The second half of Halloween is basically a rehash of what happened in the original film. We even get the guy being stabbed to a wall with head tilt. However, that scene is nowhere near as effective as the original. Again, I think a lot of this was due to studio pressure and interference. They probably wanted a straightforward Halloween remake, and Zombie was trying to do something different, which I give him credit for. I think the way the film's shot is okay. Rob Zombie's no John Carpenter, clearly, but there is one really cool shot of Michael following Laurie, which I thought was well done. I'm sorry though, this version of Michael Myers is way too tall. I mean, I understand that in the other films he wasn't exactly a little person, but damn, I mean, when you see shots of him standing there, he just looks so out of place. Also, with the height of this guy and how big he is, that's what she said, I know, but how could the cops not find this big fucker? What I always thought was kind of cool about the original Halloween is how Michael blended into the background, which was the whole theme of the movie. The boogeyman could be anywhere. In this movie, though, the boogeyman stands out like a big fucking sore thumb. The acting is a bit all over the place. I'm sorry. Sherry Moon Zombie cannot act to save her life. When she delivers her dialogue, it sounds like she's reading. The only reason she's in this movie is because of Zombie. We all know that, though. It was good to see Danielle Harris in a Halloween movie again. She does a good job in the role of Annie. She's a bit annoying, but in a teenager sort of way, which I guess is the whole point. Scout Taylor Compton does okay as Laurie. I think it was an interesting idea to make Laurie more sociable and livelier. She has a big personality. I don't think she's as likable in the role as Jamie Lee Curtis was, but that's just my opinion. The two kids who played Lindsay Wallace and Tommy Doyle are fucking terrible, especially the actress who played Lindsay. Every time she screams, it's nails on a chalkboard. Going back to the Dr. Loomis character for a minute, unless I miss something, he takes a complete 180 in the second half of the movie. In the first half, he's compassionate to Michael. He wants to help him. He likes him. He thinks of him as his best friend. And in the second half, he's like, oh, he's the Antichrist. He's evil. And it just doesn't make sense. The first half of the movie does a really good job establishing a connection between Dr. Loomis and Michael, a bond. It's actually pretty sad when Dr. Loomis tells him that he's no longer going to be seeing him anymore. And so that's why it just seems jarring when Dr. Loomis is ranting to the sheriff about how evil Michael is and whatnot. Rob Zombie's Halloween isn't a good film, but it's not a bad film either. It has some good ideas. I just think it was trying to be too many different things at once, rather than keep it simple like the original did. Rob Zombie's take on what causes a serial killer, or what creates a serial killer or a psychopath, is interesting, and it actually makes me want to see him make a serial killer movie in vain to like Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer or Maniac. Just don't remake either of those movies, Rob. With that said, I give Rob Zombie's Halloween, I should say, 2.5 skulls. What do you guys think of Rob Zombie's Halloween? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Tell me why in the comments section. Also, if you enjoyed today's video, please tap that like button. Well, that's it for me today, my friends. If you're wondering why I didn't review Rob Zombie's sequel to Halloween, well, I just don't have enough patience or beer to sit through that movie again. Take care, guys.